All right. Well, it's a couple minutes after the hour, so let's go ahead and get started. I know we're going to have a few folks joining us here as we get going, but we don't want to waste any time. We have a lot of exciting information to share today. So, if this is your first time. My name is Doug Cundiff. I'm a physical therapist by trade and background, and probably since January, we've been hosting these calls where we have the opportunity to either interview practitioners to understand how they're using Ollie Life within their setting, or we're speaking with folks who are calling in, trying to collaborate with practitioners and understanding different strategies, different business models that make the most sense there. And we've had some terrific calls to date. So for today, we have the opportunity to meet and hear from Helen West. And I'm going to let her do her introduction. But as a wellness center business owner, we're going to hear her story, her journey, and how things are transitioning for her in just a few short weeks, I believe. So how about we do this? Let's jump right into it. Helen, let's get started with sharing with the group just a little about who you are, where you're located, and a little bit about your current business model. Because we're going to talk about the evolution. Let's just talk about where you are right now, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so hi everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Doug, to share my story because I'm so excited. So I'm located in Southern California, in Norco, California. I have a wellness center, and we have majority of our healing modalities. I have about a dozen or so, and I feel the top of the line in its category of technology that heals. And we also have some hands-on kind of healing in addition to some hands-on services like fascia blast, and we have a massage therapist and things like that. So all in all, maybe about 15, 16 different services that we offer, as well as supplements and, some merchandise and things like that.
Fantastic. And so you got started with Ollie Life. Is it maybe 6 weeks now? Has it been that long?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
All right.
exactly.
So
Six weeks and one day, I think.
So there's a pretty interesting story. You don't have to get into all the details, but you want to share a little bit about Ricky's persistence. Let's just call it that.
Yeah, so I was introduced to Ollie Life from another clinic up in Thousand Oaks. It's way past the LA area. So I'm about an hour from LA when there's no traffic, which is not something that exists where I am. So up in, in this area, it's about a 3 hour drive when there's no traffic. We share a client, this gentleman and I. So he called because he wanted to know where I had kind of left off because she couldn't make the long drive to my center. And so anyway, he and I were talking, and he told me in the 13 years that I've had my clinic, so I've only had mine for 3, so I'm very new. He's had his for 13, and he said in
The
the
clinic,
13,
the clinic.
yes, his
Yeah.
clinic,
Okay.
yes.
Yep.
In the 13 years that I've had my clinic, I have never seen anything heal like this. And I really like the guy. He's an amazing person, really, really good heart. But as a wellness center owner and anyone that has any kind of a business, like how many times have you heard that? Everybody and their uncle is trying to sell you something, right? And so I thought, oh, that's nice. And, I just kind of kept him at bay. But we kept having to have discussions because of this client, where he was taking over her treatment. So he kept telling me about it. And he said, can I just have a guy come out and demo you? And I said, sure. And so then Ricky contacts me, Ricky Brandino. I love him, by the way. I just love him. So he contacts me and he's telling me about it. And we actually set up an appointment. And then when he told me he was driving from Malibu, and I thought, oh my gosh, he's going to make a 4 hour drive to demo me something for 20 minutes. I said, oh, that's okay. To save yourself the hassle of driving and, through LA traffic and everything else. It's okay. But he kept insisting and kept insisting. And I actually canceled on him once. When I found out that it was network marketing, I thought, oh no, I'm like, that's okay, but he just kept persisting and persisting. And finally, on one of his last texts, he said, you know what, that's okay. I'm not going to bother you anymore. We'll just keep our appointment canceled. And then I was reading through all of his texts, and he mentioned Dr. Christiane Northrup. He, mentioned Nicholas Binyamin, who I'm a huge fan of. And I thought, well, maybe I should give this a try. What's 20 minutes? And if he doesn't mind the spending all day driving back and forth, why not? And so, and I mean, I don't think a week goes by where I'm still not thanking, Ricky, every week, thank you so much for not giving up on me and being so persistent because it is healing people like I cannot even begin to tell you. I mean, I know this is a 1 hour, Zoom, but you and I could probably sit here for hours in terms of what I have personally seen from the demos that I have done.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
So, with the group, would you share a little bit about what's your setup right now? You mentioned a number of different services.
Mhm.
Um, and we're going to talk a little bit later about what got started and how you got started into the wellness center. But your business has been evolving over the last 6 weeks. So I think you're doing something unique now. You mentioned the demos that Ricky did with you. I think he spent the day there, if I'm not mistaken, when you first came up there. So
Yes, he
what
did.
does a day look like in your clinic now with Ollie Life? And then thoughts on what that's doing with some of the other service offerings that you have. But
Okay. So what has morphed and changed in the last 6 weeks? Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's only been 6 weeks. Is again, I feel like I have the best in class in terms of healing technologies, but nothing, and I don't say this lightly because I have put my heart and soul, my savings, my retirement, everything into my center. There is nothing else that I've seen that heals as quickly and as consistently as the Oli Life products. So we may have some one-offs here and there with some other technologies where somebody comes in with Parkinson's, let's say, and their tremors are stopped, but that's not consistent with everybody that has Parkinson's, for example, or everyone that comes in. Every single person that tries Oli Life has a consistent result, whether it's pain relief, whether it's tremors going away, whether it's energy, whether it's being able to walk, getting feeling and all of those things. So what I'm doing now at my center is when somebody comes in for whatever they're coming in for, Ollie Life is the thing that I recommend. I have the P90 Plus and the Vitality Wand as a service that I offer at my center, where
okay.
they just put the feet on there for 20 minutes or they use the wand for 45 minutes. And then starting this week, I spoke to my massage therapist and another gal that's going to start doing facelifts. We're going to start providing more of a customized hands-on treatment where somebody can come in a private room in a massage therapy room where we will use the three-pronged Revitalex massager
Yep.
to really just get and dig in, where it's hard to reach places for people for pain relief. And then for somebody to come in and they'll get a facelift using the Voodoo Frost. So those will be hands-on treatments that we provide. And then as far as everything else, I am looking to offload certain technologies where I have more than one. Okay. And that's been a challenge because I've already had 3 people who has wanted, I'm not going to say the name of the technology
Yeah,
because it's
that's fair.
but I've had 3 different groups of people come to buy this one technology that I have 2 of that I'm offloading one, and I couldn't sell it to them. Each technology is $15,000 each, and I have 2, and I'm selling it at half price, and they're not even a year old, and it's still covered under warranty. And I'm selling it at $8,000, and they asked me about it, and I can't sell it to them because I know there's something better that heals faster. And so 3 times I've had the opportunity to offload it and I haven't been able to. They come, they demo, and they walk, they end up ordering Ollie Life. So I may end up having this forever, what I have, and that's okay.
Helen, when we spoke the other day, there's another part of the story that people are going to get to learn about you that you'll connect some dots because that's just the nature of who you are, who I'm getting to know that you are. So with the models that you have, you kind of spoke that it's morphed into an offering. You mentioned, I believe, on the call that you also have some demo sessions, right, where there's multiple systems. Can you talk a little bit about what that is, because I believe that you've been doing that with either existing appointments or now you're making some longer appointments, like maybe a 2 hour appointment, if I'm not mistaken. But can you talk a little bit
Yes.
about, share a little bit
Yes.
about that?
So initially, Ricky, thank goodness, he actually let me keep one of his P90 Plus devices from the get-go. So when he first arrived, he spent the rest of the day there, and everybody that had an appointment doesn't matter what the appointment was for. We were putting, their feet on the plates, and every single person had an amazing response. And so he let me keep his P90 Plus unit until I got mine, and he's kind enough that he's still allowing me to keep it so I can, do more than one demo at a time. So during the first couple of weeks, it was just whoever walked in, but it was taking up so much my time, and the rest of my business just kind of got, pushed back. So now what I'm doing is I've literally completely closed down my center for 2 hours. And I started it with one of my healing rooms doing a demo, and I go through every single healing wellness device. Sorry, and I'm not supposed to say healing wellness device that Ollie Life offers. So in a 2 hour setting, people get to try the P90 Plus, the Shaken Galaxy G1 glasses, the Vitality Wand, but in another room because it's noisy, and the two attachments, the
Right.
Revitalex massager and the Beauty Frost. So in a 2 hour time frame, everyone gets to try all six, and then we play some videos, from Ollie Nation. We answer questions, and we show the testimonies. And that's what we're doing now, 2, 3 times a week. I do see us doing this every day. And I haven't even made any kind of an announcement to any of my client base. All we have been doing is sharing it with people who have appointments. They come, they demo, and then they go back and they share with other people. So half the people that are coming in and filling up our demo sessions right now are people we don't even know. They're not my clients. So I do have to care a little bit more, for my clients and reach out to them. But that's me having more demo days, because 2 to 3 is just not enough.
So if let me step back then just to make sure I understand. So you have appointments, you'll schedule appointments for the P90 plus, the PEMF terahertz in the Vitality one. You were doing that, or you do that now, right? But now you're adding demo days, 2 hour blocks, a couple times
Mhm.
a week. And is that a group setting then? How many people do you have going through that session that you're thinking about doing more of?
So right now I've learned the sweet spot. I'm starting with six, but when we have a
Six
wait list
stations,
of
right? Kind of
people,
six. Yeah.
yeah, so they kind of rotate. It's like
Yeah.
musical chairs. Yeah, so we have um, six chairs, and that's really the sweet spot. We've done as many as 10, and I think at one time we did 12. It's just way too many people, and people are waiting too long afterwards for us to take orders. And unfortunately, with some of the credit card processing challenges that we've had, although I figured it out and it's easy and smooth now,
Yeah.
it was taking a lot longer. But six seems to be the sweet spot within a 2 hour time frame, because I do have to open up my business again for other things. Because I do have non-healing kinds of things. I have diagnostic kinds of things like live blood analysis, that blood flow. Like
Yes,
we
you
do that
do.
at our center, for example. So we do things that are not specific just to healing. So six has been the sweet spot, but we do open it up, and then I reach out to my team to say, hey, who can come with extra plates and extra this or that so we can accommodate more people.
Wow. So you mentioned about taking orders. So, and I know this from our conversation. So I believe when they're scheduling this time, they know they're coming in for a demo session. I know early
Mhm.
on you're just pulling them in and you're doing that, but now they're scheduling, they're coming in. You're playing a video. So the first time they're learning about PEMF terahertz, this technology is through the videos that you're sharing in that session, right? Not sending anything in advance. Is that accurate?
I don't send anything in advance because I learned very quickly from the get-go. If I led with the Ollie Life company name
Yeah.
or even my own Frequency Awakening website, they would look at it and I would hear crickets. Like I wouldn't hear anything. And then I had one member call me and said, Helen, why in the world would I want another wellness product? Because Ollie Life is registered with the FDA as a wellness product. And as amazing and professional as the websites are in terms of what it shows, in terms of what it's actually doing, you have to go to the testimony site
Yeah.
or hear from our own members in terms of what we're seeing. Even on my Google review page, there's a review of one of my members who came, who has, and I'm not saying this happens to everybody, and I just want to preface that, Ollie Life is a wellness product, and I'm not making any medical claims.
That's
But
great.
as an example, I'm only sharing what people have experienced. So as an example, and you can find this literally on my Google website right now, if you go to ascended-wellness.com and do a Google review, there is a member who came who has a cancerous tumor in her spine and she can't walk. Well, she can walk, but with a walker, and she can't sit and stand by herself. After the demo, just the demo only, she stood up unaided. The next day she called, my member, she brought her landlord, and it was the landlord, called her and said, can you come over? And she went over and she was walking completely unaided the very next day, just after a demo. So
And the
now she
demo
just texts
is that they go through a cycle of six, right? The six
all
stations.
six
Yep,
things.
yep. And we'll
Yes,
talk a little bit
yes.
more about that. Keep going.
So anyway, so yes, it's a 2-hour segment, and we have everyone try all six, and yeah, we just have them cycle through. I play the videos, I show them testimonies, and then I share my own stories. And because I always have others who are there kind of helping me, they start sharing their own testimonies. I mean, it's amazing. And then we just start taking orders, or sponsoring them. I'm sorry, I'm not probably using the right terminology, but
No, no, that's fine. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, one of the, I don't want to say challenges, but at least here in the States, you mentioned, network marketing and things like that. And sometimes that can be a hurdle to discuss, but at the end of the day, at least working with practitioners, we're functioning as distributors, right? Whatever the model
yeah,
is for the reward compensation plan, it is what it is. But functioning like distributors, I know in speaking with you, so you have the demo sessions, people have expressed concerns that if you offer, I believe, if you offered it for someone to have at home, well, then what about your business, right? And you're
yeah,
fine with that. You want to elaborate a little bit more because I think there's a high percentage of patients who go schedule and go through your demo day, your demo session. They want something for home, right?
yes.
And this, well, aren't you concerned, Helen, what that's going to do to your business?
Yeah.
Yes. When I first was demoed this and saw the reaction, in fact, the testimony of the gentleman that had 3 strokes and a heart attack last June, that's already on the Ollie Nation testimony
Mhm.
site. That's one of my clients. So when I saw what it was doing, I literally, after a week or so, I had to have like a come to Jesus moment. Like, what do I do with my center? Okay, I have all these amazing, amazing healing, technologies, but what does that mean for my center? And some things I haven't even broken even,
Right.
meaning I haven't even gotten the amount
Hundreds of
back that I
thousands of dollars. Yeah. Yeah.
right. So I'm like, what do I do with my hyperbaric chamber, the red light, the E system, like all these things that I have? Like, what do I do with all this stuff? So I literally had to put myself and my center aside and say, what is the best thing for humanity? And my goal has always been to try to provide the best in class healing technology with the least harm, in a reasonably priced way. So it's all life. So I said, okay, well, I didn't even talk about the business at all. I just started,
Right.
demoing and selling. And so that's what I started doing. And then after a while, every time I would go in my back office to take an order, I would see all these like wallets. And finally I'm like, Ricky, what is this? Like, what are all these wallets and what does this mean? And he started sharing with me, and I probably drove him crazy because I kept asking him, like, what is this kind of payment again? What is this bonus? What is this? And he finally shared it with me. And it is now, it hasn't quite replaced, but it is coming very, very close to replacing the income that I had running my regular business with regular healing modalities.
Everything.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
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 and I know we have a number of different practitioners and who are using Ollie Life or have incorporated it into their practice. And sometimes it's complementary to their core or foundational services, right? Like a chiropractor, you still need to be in good alignment,
yes,
for the body to function. So for your situation, that's your story, but we're not suggesting that's what's going to happen with every wellness practitioner setting and so
no,
on, but that's what's evolving for you. I did see a question. We talked a little bit about it before. So six stations, that's a lot of frequency. Can you talk a little bit about how do you manage that experience so that obviously hydration, all the things we know, all the precautions you do, waiver, all that stuff. But can you
hmm,
talk a little bit about if someone's going to try six different things, um, how do you manage that? What
okay.
works for you?
Okay, so I have a room, a healing room called the EE System Light System Room, and it's already laid out with, really nice chairs and things like that. So we have chairs that are facing the front of the room. So, and then we have chairs that face the side of the room. So the demo chairs are the ones that are forward facing. So for a maximum of 10, but again, we've realized 10 is a little bit too much in a 2 hour. So what we do is we have two P90 devices, one that has each of the attachments. So one that has the Revitalex attachment, one that has a Beauty Frost attachment. Then we have the Shaken, we have, the Vitality one and the Galaxy G1 glasses. And we make sure that all six people, so I start off by describing one product, okay? And then I literally show them how easy it is to turn it on and off and because
Mhm.
it's so simple, there's no learning curve. And so I start with one person starts it. I pick up another product and I say, this is how you use this. Another person starts it. And when all six people are doing something, okay, they're all receiving some type of a healing mode, one of the modalities from Ollie Life, that's when I start playing the videos. And then as things beep and as things end, the 20-minute time frame ends, I just move them to the next thing, and that's how we go through the rest of the time.
And then setting wise, you're keeping on lower settings for like the P90 plus. I'm sure folks are asking, about how the levels and things like that. Not to get into details, we're not talking protocols or anything like that, but is everything staying on a lower setting, lower frequency?
So I've been using anywhere from 3 to 5, depending on the person. So if we have somebody who's really tall, 6'4", really built, we might start with the 5. If we have somebody who is going through cancer, they weigh like 90 pounds and they're very frail, and we might start at 1 or 2. So we really look at the person who's receiving and then if we have somebody with neuropathy, we want them to have a little bit more feeling, so we might
Mhm.
start them a little bit higher, like a 3 or 4. So we take each person kind of individually.
Fantastic. You mentioned the blood flow analysis before too. Have you incorporated that into your demo sessions, or is there too much going on already that you
It's
incorporate?
coming, but yeah, yeah.
Okay.
There's so
Okay.
many things that are changing, and like we even had to like move, like this room is becoming this room now, and so there's all kinds of change, and it's hectic chaos,
I
But
love it.
once these things are settled, then we will definitely incorporate. We have 3 different diagnostic things that we want to see the before and after.
Yeah. I mean, again, just a reminder for anyone who joined late, this is 6 weeks into Helen having her systems there. So that's fantastic there. Helen, before we step back a little bit, because I would love for folks to hear your story about how this all got started for you. Um, you're doing the demo sessions. Six is your magic number, and you're saying you do position that this is yes, you could continue to come in here for sessions like this or one-offs, or they can have the system at home if they like. What does that conversation look like or sound like? Can you share that?
Yeah, so at the very beginning now, when before I even start doing any of the demos, I kind of just go through the logistics of the program or the demo that they're going to be going through. And from the get-go, I used to not say this at the beginning, but I say it at the beginning now. I tell people we offer 2 services right now using these 2 things, and I point it out.
Mhm.
And I say, but all of these things are available for you to purchase. And because I can only take one order at a time, which is true, because we tried and we got booted out because we're all trying to anyway, you learn things.
Mhm.
So I tell them because I can only take one order at a time and it's an order coming, I'm taking an order from a company called Ollie Life. It is not, you're not taking an order from me, my company, Ascended Wellness. Because they're like, oh, put it on my credit card, on my account. And I'm like, well, I can't, so I tell them at the very, very beginning, at any time during the demo, if you would like to place an order, just let me know. And I do have the printed form that you can find on Ollie Nation printed with a clipboard and a pen. And so I pass that out as well. So they can see the pricing. They know what it is, from the get-go. And I tell them, please let me know because I can only take one order at a time. And I explain a little bit about there might be, a couple of tries that we may need to do in terms of credit card processing. And I explain, the reason why. And it goes over well. So
Fantastic. Well, thank you for sharing that. I'm sure we'll have some more questions around that, but let's step back a little bit. So I think it was 3 years ago that you opened your center.
yes.
But prior to that, can we step back a little bit and let's just your journey to get to the wellness center and what got this? You're not a practitioner yourself, you're a business owner.
That's
So how
correct.
did this all come to be?
So back in 2020, in December of 2020, I ended up with COVID and I was hospitalized. And leading up to that, I was in and out of the ER for weeks. I couldn't breathe, like so many people who had COVID that couldn't breathe, then the oxygen just tanked. So I ended up in the hospital. When I was released, I was attached to an oxygen device for about 3 to 4 months. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. They wanted to operate on my heart because it just really, really damaged my heart. And it was during my visit there and prior to me getting sick, I just want to say, I thought I was the best mom in the world by making sure my kids got the flu shot every year. And, I'm not badgering my own self, but, I didn't know what I didn't know. So, but anyway, with me nearly dying is what really woke me up to taking my own health into my own hands. And it was after that I was finally detached from the oxygen machine and I could, travel with the portable oxygen machine and drive and things that I started seeking everything that was holistic to heal myself. And I did. And I didn't have to have heart surgery. My rheumatoid arthritis is gone. I mean, the way that the body will heal itself when given the right environment. Our body, there's innate intelligence built into our bodies. And so that's what motivated me to open my center so that others can heal without harm and others can take sovereignty back into their own health and life.
And one of the technologies that you mentioned was instrumental in you moving forward with this. That's what helped you, the EE system, right?
Yes.
That's what worked for
Yes. So
you.
that's the EE system, light system. Yes.
Yeah. So that's what worked for you, and that was your catalyst to empower yourself and to empower others to take control, which I absolutely love. You also have mentioned, during that time frame, I think prior to Ollie Life, and this isn't badgering or saying one's better than the other, but there was a gentleman I think who was coming in who had a PEMF system that, can you just share that story? And again, this is not a knock. In fact, if someone has that system, we say keep using it, but it's not the same,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
share that,
Yes.
share that,
So,
share that story if you would.
yeah. So I don't know if you guys are familiar. I don't know if you're familiar with a company called Beamer.
Yep,
They're PEMF mats. Really, really good mats. Okay, I'm not knocking Beamer.
that's right.
But just like as I mentioned, when you have a wellness center or any business, everyone's trying to sell you, everything, right? And so he's still a client of mine, but I haven't seen him in many months because he moved to Idaho, I think. He was the number one sales rep for Beamer in the area. And he came in very, very regularly. And he's like, Helen, you can put this on the chairs and, you can upcharge this. And he was trying to sell me the professional level. And it was like anywhere from like $6,000 to $12,000 for a mat. And I'm like, oh, I don't know, Greg. And finally, I asked him, okay, Greg, why do you come here? Because, I tried it and everything and it feels good. I said, why do you come
Yeah, he was
here?
coming there as a
If,
patient or as a member,
yeah,
right? Not just a sales call.
right. I said, so if you're the number, and he is the most loveliest person. He goes, why do you come here if you use the Beamer mats every day? And he said, well, they don't do what, the EE system does in terms of my prostate and everything else.
Right.
And I learned more about prostate and what men go through from Greg than anyway. But so I said to him, so then why would I get something that doesn't work as well as what I already have? You know, just because I don't have PEMF in my center doesn't mean I need it if I have something else that works better, you
Right.
know? And so he stopped bugging me, and then him and his fiance at the time, now they're married, but they moved and I haven't seen him.
Very good.
So
And
yeah.
that lends a lot to the story then when Ricky did say, well, you got to try this because it's you already had heard you already had in your mind a perception on what may or may not work. And by having the demo days, Ricky's spending the first day there, seeing the results, that's tremendous. Um, I-
Yeah, in fact, there is, if you don't mind me saying, so
Please.
I'm working with another, well, it's going to be a much, much bigger group, but there's a clinic up in, I think Sherman Oaks anyway, it's in the LA area. They have a PEMF mat that they paid $60,000 for. And I don't know what the brand is, but I can tell you, I have looked at everything, and there is nothing that works like this, like Ollie Life, nothing. And it's only $1,500.
Yeah,
So
that's tremendous there. Um, so I mentioned earlier when you said you had some equipment, maybe you're considering selling it, but deep down you just couldn't sell it. And you'll part ways with it sometime, but maybe it'll
yeah,
be for someone's home use. I don't know. But you have, there's a number of wellness centers, social wellness spaces, practitioners in the area, and you have a friend who was thinking about closing her business and offered acquisition to you, right? Like you had the opportunity to
yes.
acquire her member list or patient list, if you will. Would you share that story? Because I think that's pretty telling on kind of connect some dots when as people are getting to learn who Helen West is.
Yes. So um, there is a wellness center near me, and they were going out of business. And I was speaking at their anniversary event to discuss the merger because I'm sorry, it's not a merger, it's an acquisition. I'm acquiring their company, and primarily I was acquiring their customer list and some of their assets and things like that. And we had discussed many things and worked everything out in terms of the cost and everything else. Thankfully, we hadn't actually signed. And at the center's anniversary event, I was a guest speaker, and I was talking about what the acquisition was going to be. I was talking a lot about, what my wellness center has and things like that. And at the very end, a week before that event is when Ricky demoed me, put my feet on the plates. And I remember asking, "Can I talk about this at your?" She's like, "Nope, because I don't know what it is, and I don't want to detract from." And I said, "Okay." So I did sneak it in at the very, very end. I said, these are all the things that I have, and it's amazing, and blah, blah, blah. And people were really interested. And then I said, and by the way, there's something else that is amazing that was introduced to me a week ago. And, we're going to be talking about it later, and you'll be hearing some announcements from me, but we're just not going to be, it's not going to be the focus at this event. But I did share a couple of testimonies just in the week that I had seen from my own members, my own clients. And that really piqued this person's interest that was closing down the center because they'd been losing money for about a year, and it just wasn't feasible to keep operating. And that's the thing with wellness centers. We're not covered by insurance. You're going to pay for your health at some point. You're going to pay for it now when you have control, or you're going to pay for it later, one way or the other. And it's better when you have a little bit more control and say so rather than the doctors and telling you need chemo and this and that and the other thing. But so this person came and demoed this afterwards, and she bought everything, meaning the four core things, the
Mhm.
wand,
Yep.
the shaken, the eyeglasses, and the plates. And then I proceeded to demo at her center because she was still going to be going to stay open through the end of May. So I was demoing at my place, I was demoing at her place. During the first couple of weeks, my voice was shot because I was talking nonstop and I was exhausted. But it has actually allowed her to keep her center open. And now she is doing exactly what I'm doing. Half of her center is regular healing modalities that she does, and the other half is demos. And she's like, Helen, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And she is
Wow.
a registered nurse. She used to be the owner, that is. She used to be the ICU charge nurse, for example. So she has seen the worst,
Oh,
like she's been there with all the code blues and everything else. And she did not want to go back to nursing. She was dreading going back to nursing, but she had to do something to, help her family and things like that. And yeah, so she doesn't have to. And the funny thing is, you know how in this business you're building two legs, right? Your left leg and your right leg when you're taking orders, filling the
mhm.
orders. So, and if you're just demoing, taking orders, you're helping people build their left leg, right? This is what Ricky taught me. And so the funny thing is, I had been doing this like 4 weeks, okay? And then like 2 weeks in, she's like, Helen, she's like, do you have any idea what I made? And I won't say because I don't mean to be crass and be, and giving numbers and things. But she said, Helen, do you know what I made in the last 2 weeks? And then she told me at that time, I'm like, what did you make? And she told me the number. And I'm like, what? It was more than what I had made. And I had made a substantial amount through the commissions, from Only
Mhm.
Life. And I'm like, how in the world are you making more than I am? And you've been doing this 2 weeks less. And I realized it's because I built her entire left leg. All
She's
she
just
had to
going
do was
boom, boom,
build her right leg.
boom.
Yeah. And so that's what we're doing for everybody. We're building everyone's left leg and they just have to build the right.
So you
So
need to
yeah.
have you need one more wellness center on the other side, then you're good, right?
Yes, exactly. So it'll all
Yes, it
balance out
will. Yes, it
eventually.
will. All right, so Helen, maybe, and thank you for sharing that. And I think everyone recognizes, and let's show a little love, just how giving Helen is too. That not only is she not selling the systems that she's maybe not that are going to start collecting dust, but she's helping others not just stay in business, but helping their livelihood. And think about the number of people this model is touching, right? At the end of the day, the patient outcomes are just off the charts. And then financially, you can do well if you choose to. If it's
Yes.
folks just might want the product, then that's it. I believe, Helen, if I'm not mistaken, you do share with folks they can purchase it for home. You've shared with them those who are worried about well, how are you going to stay open if you're doing fine, right? If you're open, just introduce it for you, right? I'm not saying that's the model for everyone, but um, what does your center look like 2 months from now? We didn't talk about this. What does it look
Okay.
like 2 months from now?
Okay. Well, I have a vision.
Okay.
So,
Good. I'm glad I didn't put you on the spot there.
yeah. You can never put me on the spot. I'm very
I'm learning
transparent, very
that.
open.
Yep.
So here's what I see in 2 months. I see, because I've already heard some feedback from some of my clients and members who love certain modalities, and they have the Oli Life devices, but they still come,
Mhm.
like we have an ionic detox foot bath that just pulls all the junk out of your body.
Yep. Gotta get rid of it.
And that's a very visible thing. And they want to continue doing that, for example. So a couple of things that I see, or this is what I see in a couple of months. One is I see my center becoming a place of connection because healing comes in so many different ways. Okay. When we talk about healing, and I'm talking specifically about Ollie Life, of course it's mental. You see that, in the testimonies and things like that. It's mental, it's mental health, anxiety, stress, and all that, but it's definitely physical for sure. When something manifests in our body physically, it is my true belief that it stemmed elsewhere first. It stemmed mentally, emotionally, or
Mm.
spiritually first. And because we didn't know how to handle it, then it manifests in our body, and it's our body saying, "Hey, I need some help here," you know. So what I see my center becoming, especially the big EE system room where like 20 people go in and they just sit and lie in this really, really comfortable zero gravity recliners. We already have events like once a month we have a member, meet up potluck where we get together and eat and talk and things like that. I run a 12-week metabolic program and we meet there. So I see doing more events in that room because healing at home with the plates is amazing. It's quick, it's fast, but
Mhm.
20 minutes, like my life, for example, 20 minutes sitting at home with your feet on the plate when the dogs are barking, your kids are trying to do that, it's, yes, you're healing, but it's not the most like, relaxing. Like right now it's very quiet because the kids are still at,
I don't know how you
school.
pulled that off because you warned me. You're doing
No, but
good.
I did tell them I was going to be on a Zoom, so maybe they're, staying away. But so it's not that tranquil kind of peace where you just take a deep breath and you feel pampered and nurtured. So the EE system room provides that environment for 2 hours, and that's why we block off 2 hours.
Mhm.
So so if you want to get away from your everyday and go somewhere to heal, like I still see that as a very big part of my center. But the other thing that I see is it becomes a place for connection. So I'm working with, I actually had a event that I went to on Saturday where I met with like the head of the Veterans Affairs and a bunch of different people. There are 3 people from Washington and things like that. And we want to do something for the veterans because we take care of our veterans, but I want to do it in a bigger way. And so I was there at this fancy event and so I'm going to be doing a little bit more with them. But I think what I see is a little bit more with the veterans, where it's not just about physical and mental healing, but about bringing them together. And if this thing works out with the veterans and it might not happen in 2 months, might not be for another 6 months or whatever,
Mhm.
but I see the room like maybe we have a dedicated days, Tuesdays are our Veterans Day, and we just have plates lined up and their feet are there, they're getting healing or they're using the wands and they're healing and they're talking. It's about connection. It's about not just physical healing, but the emotional, the mental, just getting all of that out. And we're all there for them. And we give them the love and we give them the care. We give them the things that are missing in just medical treatments, right?
Wow.
So that's what I see, and more fun things too. Like sound bowl meditations
Yep.
and doing Tai Chi and those kinds of
It's so much bigger than just having someone try a product, which is awesome, right? You're taking it next level there, which is thank you so much for sharing that. I did see a question come in. So for the demo sessions that you do, are people coming in to try them free of charge? Or are these first time patients coming in that they do the 6 stations, if you will? Would you share a little bit? I think I got the question correct, but would you share a little bit about that? Not don't need to share fees, but is that a free session or is that a fee
it
for
is
service
free.
session? Okay.
It is all free.
No,
Yes.
yep, very good. Yep, no, no, we got that answered there. All right. Helen, you've allowed me to ask you some questions, and I know we chat a little bit about that. Is there anything
Okay.
else that you would like to share with the community before we open it up? We have a few minutes for some questions there, but is there anything else that you would like to share with the community before we open it up there? And if not, we'll go right to some questions there.
Yeah, well, because people have asked me this question, so maybe, the audience has the same question, so I just want to give an answer to a question that hasn't been asked. You know, people ask me, like, what's the future of your center and things like that. So I really only have one kind of an answer to that, and I know you asked me that as well, Doug, and that is if you always put if you focus on service to others first before service to self, universe has your back. God has your back. So,
Hold on one second there. Hold on one second there. Let me see if we can mute. Helen, I heard you, but would you say that again? Would you say that
okay.
one more time?
Yeah. So when you're approaching practitioners or wellness centers or clinics and things like that, the owner of that clinic or the principals or whoever, they have to have times are changing. My gosh, our time's changing. So, and the owners have to be able to shift and change with the times. And if you have service to others as your priority before service to self, you will do fine. In the new earth, everything that's changing, that is happening, if if that is who you are, and that is your intention, and that is your heart, the universe has your back, God has your back, and you will be more than fine, more than fine. And we get to heal the world in the most amazing way. And because here's the thing, I truly believe that every single person has a purpose that we are supposed to fill, that only we can only uniquely fill. If you're sick, how can you focus on what that purpose is if you're constantly worried about this pain or this, cancer or whatever? So that's one thing. And Ollie Life provides that. The second thing is, if you're broke, if you're looking at paycheck to paycheck and you're struggling, again, you can't fulfill the purpose for which you are here. And I have not been involved in network marketing to this degree in, I don't even know how long. I bought some patches and some essential oils and things like that from some of my clients and my members just to help them out. And then after a while, I just end up canceling because I end up with too much supply, and I'll end up just selling it off. But this is not that at all.
Mm.
And it's giving you true health and true care. It's opening the door to financial freedom to whatever degree you want to take it. And then the other thing that I'm doing is everybody in my team, they can send people to my center to demo. I will demo and they just take orders. So it's not just me, it's everybody. So, and I literally just had that call this morning explaining this is how you do it, and everything. So
Fantastic, Helen. Thank you so much for sharing that. There's a new member attending. I think it's Luigi. Luigi, do you have a question? I see your hand up.
Yeah, hi there.
hi,
Can you,
Luigi.
first of all, can you see me? I can't see. Oh, here I am. I can see myself.
We got you.
Well, listen, I just got off a plane from Poland, and I'll tell you one thing. I had to join this call because I find it's a very special call on Mondays because we have some smart people that come on these calls, practitioners of all sorts, and a lot of different nuggets from a lot of different people. I found tonight what the value shared by Helen West was next level. Thanks a lot for sharing here today. And it's so helpful because, first and foremost, the only reason why the frequency awakening, and when I say the frequency awakening, everyone, I'm also talking about Holy Nation, because you need to understand that the frequency awakening is part of Holy Nation. Prime Holy Nation is part of Holy Nation. So we have people from all the teams on our calls, and we are one family, one team. And one thing that's beautiful is whether you're here or whether you're in Poland or whether you're anywhere around the world, everybody wants to do one thing: help people. And if your reason is to help people, money's going to come in abundance. It's just automatically. You don't even have to worry how it's going to help. And when you look at, I'm 61, so I've been through so many product-based company, lotion, potion, pills, coffee, name it, I've done it all. I've never really honestly felt results within days and weeks. Probably many of those products were fantastic. Probably after 3, 4 months, 6 months, you would see results with them, yes. But by then, most people always quit on me, stop paying their auto ship. So isn't it beautiful that here we have a device that there's no pressure to buy anything. There's no auto ship. There's no startup cost. There's no yearly renewal. And one device, someone says, oh, wow, 1,000, 1,005, that's a lot of money. Is it a lot of money when one machine, everybody in your house can use it? Like, you're not the only one who's taking it. You can use it, your husband, your mother, your next door neighbor. But everyone can use the same machine. And the results after 14 months have been amazing. They're so amazing that we have to now start being careful about not talking about medical terms, over exaggerating our claims. Don't use cure. Listen, if you want to say something on a personal level, do it personally, everyone. We're not going to start being doctors. We're not going to start answering you on medical claims. All we can say is, wow. Just wow. So So I will take the biggest thing. If you're new and you're watching and you're still kind of thinking about it, what is $1,000 investment or 1,005 to see results that you've been hearing now for the last 14 months? All right, for the
Yeah.
last 14 months. And I like the way that Helen West is actually integrating that in her profession, because a lot of people always ask, how do you go about it? Well, yeah, well, there's a lot of different ways that you can go about it. Right. And and oftentimes a lot of people are asking a lot of scientific questions, what intensity of frequency there, what intensity. Listen, you'll get that out of medical devices. Yes. We're talking about wellness devices, everyone. You can't get into that many technicalities. But I don't know there, but like I have an iPhone right now. I'm talking to you outside. There's no wire on it. How come do I see Helen right now smiling with a beautiful smile on? I don't know. It's Wi-Fi. Do I know like how Wi-Fi works? Hell no, I don't. Maybe some of you know because you're more scientific. I don't know how it works. All I know is it works. So for me, the P90, I used it. It helped me so much. I was sold. Do I know exactly how it works? No, I don't. All I know is that it's completely changed my life. It gave me my future back. It gave me my positive attitude back. It cleared up the shady spots in my head. It helped me sleep better. It cleared up some dark shades on my feet. And I can go on and on and on. Love you. What a great call tonight. You were very powerful, Alan. Congratulations. And Doug, you're the what? You're the man, man. You're the man for these calls. Love you.
Thanks, Luigi. All right. Thank you so much for sharing that. Ricky, you're the reason why we're here today. You wanna bring it home for us?
Oh yeah, I forgot to say, I love Ricky too. I forgot to say, Ricky, I love you too, Ricky.
Well, Helen should definitely bring it home. I just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for this technology. Thank you for this life-changing opportunity. Thank you, Helen West, thank you for letting me in your front door to put your feet on the machine. And the testimonials I see with people every day is just simply shocking and mind-blowing. I just finished a 3-day event here in California at this gigantic clinic, and every single person I put on that machine, when they were done, they saw something dramatically change in their lives. And that's our purpose, and that's why we're here. So I'm so blessed and honored and just so grateful for you, Helen, and everybody else in this community. So thank you so much.
Thank you,
Let Helen
Ricky.
take it home.
Ricky, thank you.
Thank you. Ricky is my mentor. He has helped me, oh my gosh, answer countless questions. He is an amazing, amazing human being with such a huge heart. And you know what they say about the new earth? It's the size of your heart that determines the size of your wealth. And I'm seeing that with here. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Helen, we're going to
I
close
see you
with that.
soon.
All right. Helen,
Hey,
thanks again.
Helen, are we going to see you in California?
Yes,
See
you are.
You'll be there.
Oh God, okay.
All right. Well, congratulations for everyone who invested time to listen and learn again. Helen, thank you so much for sharing. Ricky, thank you so much for bringing Helen to the show. And Luigi, thanks for creating this wonderful community that is also part of Ollie Nation. So with that, we'll say good morning, good afternoon, or good night to everyone else, and we'll see you next Monday. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.